Hello, humans. So forgot to set up my screen sharing. That's fine. We'll do that in a second. Anyway, hi. It's Heck O'Clock. I'm very excited to be playing around with this. I was doing other stuff today that was more productive, but then I ended up uh, deciding that now was the time to try and fix my ancient Aftershokz, aka Shokz headphones, which are, I think, beyond repair. The issue is that, well, now you're not doing it. Here we go. I don't know if you can hear that, but like the headphone rattles around inside the enclosure, and the problem with that is that it is a bone conduction headphone, which means that you need to have a solid connection all the way from the transducer inside of here to its enclosure, which then presses against my face, which then causes sound to resonate inside my head instead of it going in through my ears, which is wonderful about these headphones. I adore them. You know, yeah, let's just jump into it. I'm gonna pull up my screen here real quick, because I want to show you stuff about it. Anyway, the goal today is to repair these, and I don't think it's going to work, for the record, but we'll go over a bunch of stuff about that. And first, though, hello, this is me. You can go to alexglow.notion.site to find out more about all the stuff that I do, including the 4 different series that I've got going on right now, and upcoming events that I'm doing in person or virtually. So we've got Hackster Cafe, somewhat weekly, semi-weekly. It's usually every other week. Interview show where I talk to someone who's doing really cool stuff with electronics on Hackster.io, where I am a pro partner. Then we've got Dayglow, which is my collaboration show with David Groom, which I think we actually have an episode tomorrow. Oh, but we like do a multi-hour exploration of some piece of technology that we've never really gotten to dig into before. Usually a microcontroller or a display or something. This is Hack O'Clock. It's a spontaneous stream where I'm doing something and I'm like, hey, let's stream it. I was recording it on my computer, and I was like, oh, you know what, this should just be a stream. This is the same way I got into blogging. I was like taking my notes. I was like, I'll share them because I need them anyway. And then Space Song Sunday is an occasional thing where I go on Instagram Live and sing songs about space, originals, covers, and adaptations. So this is Hack O'Clock. You can check out the playlist on YouTube. You can also subscribe to hashtags on Mastodon and Blue Sky, Hack O'Clock, and then each of the other shows has their own one. But you can see me announcing various stuff. This is where I am on Blue Sky, alexglow.bluesky.social or bsky, and then I'm alexglow on chaos.social, which is the chaos communication camp thingy. I'm also trying to determine what stickers I should order for swag, so let me know if you like any of these particular designs. Why did I close that? Actually, you can go vote on them now. Go check them out. I'm especially fond of the Archimedes ones, but I have these pixel selfie things, like emoji set that I made earlier this year, and so it could be fun to have some sticker designs that use those, but I'm really fond of this one. Anyway, I'm just gonna skip right into it. We don't need to go over everything I went into yesterday. But so these are Shokz headphones. A lot of people have gotten into them in the last few years. I got my first pair at the start of the pandemic in 2020. Basically, I started listening to a ton of audiobooks from the library using Libby. And this is just such a wonderful program. I have 3 different library cards loaded into Libby for different places. They're happy to give you cards for different libraries. You often don't have to like prove you live in a place or anything, like a specific place or anything like that. You can just like, they'll give you a card, and the more that you use it, the more you're supporting your local libraries. I turn through so many audiobooks on these things, and they're incredibly comfortable for me. They don't like hurt my ears like most other headphones do, or like, you know, external ones tend to weigh down on the top of my head in a way that I hate. And earbuds tend to, like, I don't know what it is, but I think it's because I smile a lot maybe, but like any kind of rigid thing in my ears like hurts after a while because my ears crinkle up when I smile. And also like the other ones tend to fall out and like I lose them, or like, you know, you lose one of them or whatever. These ones are either like around my neck like this, or they're on my head, around my ears or whatever. These ones, so I actually have a new pair that I got when these broke. So these are like a mini version. which is nice because my head's a little smaller. And then these are a pair that Shokz sent me after my first pair sort of broke down. I think that so I actually started tearing these down before I realized I should stream this. Um, the original ones, they got kind of grimy. They had this issue with the like silicone or whatever type of rubber they were using, where, as many do, it got kind of grimy after a while. It got kind of sticky, like old Apple cables do this a lot. And also they like sort of the covering shifted around in an interesting way. But I noticed that both of these did the little rattly thing. And then in the end, I ended up still using these for a while as a backup pair until I sat on them and broke one of the joints. So I still hold out hope for maybe being able to fix these, but due to the fact that they're largely like they're water resistant pretty strongly. And I suspect that I won't be able to open these up and put them back together without, in order to fix the transducer issue without screwing them up forever. An interesting thing is, though, that this original version also had these little sort of rubber coating on the inside of the pads, which you can't really tell because the plastic is pretty, like, it looks pretty normal, but you can see this sort of texture on there. That was covered with another sort of like soft rubber coating, and all on both of these pairs, they sort of like flaked off eventually. They sort of peeled off in a piece. One cool thing, though, is that Shokz were not, at the time that I broke the first pair, or they wore down or whatever. Um, they I didn't have them registered, and basically they had this whole area on their site where they were like, "Oh, if you don't have it registered, here's how to and you break it, like here's how to register so you can get the the free replacement." And it was just like such a friendly experience. They didn't even ask me to send the old ones back. They just told me to keep them. I had one like those, not exactly those that I lost at the gym. Oh no, yeah. They make my life so much better, so I would probably get a new pair anyway, as I did when these broke. Pardon my red eyes, by the way. My sleep habits are terrible. I'm working on it, and most of this stream is gonna be looking at the desk anyway, so ugh. But anyway, so I use them all the time for Libby and Libro.fm, which is a wonderful way to buy audiobooks for multiple reasons. So like with bookshop.org, I think it is bookshop.org. Yeah. They allow you to select a local independent bookstore that will be supported by your purchases. So this is bookshop.org, where you can get ebooks as well as physical books. Very cool. But then, yeah, Libro.fm does the same thing. Not only that, but check out my library. No, not there. There we go. So when you buy audiobooks from here, either with credits or with actual money, then you get downloadable files. You literally can just download the files DRM free and keep them forever across all platforms. So I think this is just incredible. They've got an amazing library. They've got Hitchhiker's Guide. They've got Terry Pratchett. They've got all these. They got Nnedi Okorafor. They've got a million other authors, like, and you got the what's her face, Phryne Fisher, Miss Fisher's murder mystery series. And they've got these two series that I adore and decided to buy to just have forever because they are rad. We've got the Annihilation series by Jeff Vandermeer, aka Area X. And also I recently acquired the Rosewater, aka Wormwood trilogy by Tade Thompson, which is just an incredible series that I don't hear people talking about, and it's ridiculous because they're so good. So you should definitely use my referral link if you want to be a member, because not only does it mean that you can get yourself some cheaper books. So almost everything on this site, also, just to mention, is that I'm not paid by them or anything, by the way. I just love them. Almost everything on this site is a single credit. Like, you don't get this thing like with Audible where you have to pay like 3 credits for this book or whatever. It's literally just like you give them a credit and then you get the book, and it's fantastic. And then you can download it forever. So love it. And then also, if there's very few books on here that you actually have to buy with money, but you also get a member discount for those. So the Area X ones, for some reason, this is the original trilogy. This is the final book in the quadrilogy that came out a decade later. Very interesting. But anyway, those are some of the very few books on this site that I've noticed that you have to pay cash for because of the publisher. And you still get like a 30% discount on that. So I just think it's fantastic. I've got a membership there where I get a free credit every month, or it's like 14 bucks, 15 bucks, and very much recommend getting on Libro.fm. One other cool thing about the Rosewater and Absolute Annihilation series, which is I'm currently sort of going back through both of those because I love them so much. They're kind of like both these this is a beautiful, eerie, gorgeous, naturalistic series in love with biology and just fantastic. There's a movie based on it, but I think it's the storyline is rather different, but it's still amazing. Um, Rosewater, in comparison, is a lot sort of grittier. It's a lot more sort of like adult. It's not like, I don't know. Anyway, it's a lot. It's more like I think just gritty is the term for it, but it's an amazing series, and I really encourage you to check it out because it's about like it's got aliens, it's got like weird mind altered stuff. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of books like Alice in Wonderland, obviously, but then later on, like ones like The End of Mr. Y or Vert, ugh, like anything to do with like weird, different realities and parallel stuff going on and whatever. Also, probably why I like Annihilation. Uh, this has that kind of stuff in spades. It's really interesting. There's like neural phenomena and like weird biological stuff and fungi and I think I can say, oh yeah, aliens. Oh man, I shouldn't show the plot on the screen. No, go away. Anyway, it's very cool. You should check it out, and it's based in Nigeria, mostly in Lagos, and this area called Rosewater that's like outside of there. Uh, also just gotta share this little fangirl moment where I got really excited about something in Annihilation, and then Tanya Thompson wrote back to me about it. I flipped out. Uh, and this was like right when I had just started downloading both, re-listening to both Area X and Rosewater, and it turns out that he's a fan as well. Uh, it's so cool. Like two of my favorite authors, and Jeff Vandermeer's on here as well, but doesn't usually respond. That's fine. Oh, whatever. Okay, enough of that. Let's look at some comments. Rubberized coatings are such a pain. Just had to throw out a few gizmos that had turned completely sticky and gross. Yeah, what's the deal with that? Like, we've known about this for like I know the Apple stuff, like especially I've had headphones that did that like years and years ago, and yet we've still been using these. I do have to say that the newer versions of Shokz slash Aftershokz headphones do a lot better job with that. So that's a nice thing to see, is that even though both of the old ones that I had sort of went the way of the sticky, these ones are doing really well. Yes, Libro.fm. So great for self-hosting. I back up every book that I buy on there as MP3s. Some of them also have Apple native audiobook format, which I think is AAC. So that includes things like chapters. You can like keep your place and stuff, which MP3s are a little less resilient in that way. Like many players will just like treat it as a regular song and start it at the beginning every time. But for some of these, you can get like, yeah, Apple native audiobook format as well. Please do use my referral code if you want to get a membership. I think we both get a couple of free credits. I could be lying. We love fun, guys. Yeah. So Rosewater is just a fantastic, fantastic series. It's gripping and like very action-packed. So I would say that like Annihilation, the Area X series, is more sort of like dreamy, and there is like freaky stuff that goes down, and there is action, but it's more like intrigue and kind of like suspenseful and spooky. Whereas the Wormwood slash Rosewater trilogy by Tade Thompson is a lot more sort of like very action-packed, very gritty, very sort of like grown-ups doing grown-up things. There's like more sex in it, I'll just say that, and there's also like more sort of violence, and there's just like more sort of like go 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 kind of stuff, as well as the amazing stuff that he shares about like Nigerian street food. They're always talking about the different stuff they're eating and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I want to eat all of these things right now. Like, oh, fried plantains. I've had fried plantains actually, but like the different You know, egusi soup and whatever, and pepper soup, which Nedia Cora 4 talks about a bunch as well. Okay. So getting back to the repair stuff. Hey, what's up, Tariq? Good to see you. All right, so into the repair things. I'm trying to repair these Shokz headphones from back in the day when they were called Aftershokz. And they have a bunch of different versions now. They have some with better bass response, which is kind of cool. And iFixit does have a few guides on these. Again, because of the sort of water-resistant nature of them, I don't really anticipate being able to repair these in a very effective way. But I'm gonna try! We're gonna start by just tearing them open. These ones are actually from before the Open Run phones came out, so you can see these. And then these are both also later versions. But they do have like a bit of a thingamajig. One thing that I'm learning about hardware repair, as well as being an electrician, which are both things that I at some point considered, is just how much of it involves cleaning. Like, so much of this stuff is just like tearing something open and scraping out and blowing out all the like cat hair and like skin grime and like dust stuff that gets inside of controllers and things, and cleaning it off and like cleaning off contacts with alcohol swabs and whatever. And so much of repair is just that. Similarly with being an electrician, I hear the worst horror stories in the world about like having to crawl around in terrible places. I think I could be like a line technician, like up on a pole, because I like heights, but crawling around in crawl spaces could not pay me enough to do that. But anyway, so I'm gonna switch over to a desk camera, and we're gonna see how that goes. So I already started out with this, as I said. This one was my original pair. So these pads coverings came off, just kind of like peeled off in like gradually, and eventually I ripped them apart off completely. And then what happened with these is that I replaced them, got them replaced by Shokz, who sent me these. Both of them succumbed to the same problem where the transducer inside of one of the sides started rattling around. It sort of detached from the enclosure. And so I'm trying to figure out if there's any way to reattach it in this one, which doesn't have a broken holder, bracket thingy, whatever you call it, neckband, headband. Trying to take apart this older one and see if I can like figure out how I might non-destructively repair the new one. I can deal with like a rattly headphone if I need to, but it sort of like reduces the whole effectiveness of the idea of it being a transducer, and also makes it a less pleasant experience. So for this one, I've torn off the outer rubber stuff, which again went all sticky, which the new ones don't seem to do. And I'm going to try and work my way up to these ear areas. I did also take it off of the neck here because I was curious what's going on in here. And it looks like we've got little audio cables. Is that just 2? No, it's 3 or 4. We got red, green, and blue. So it's 3 wires, which makes sense because these have a built-in microphone. So left channel, right channel. Wait, there would be a ground. So maybe... Huh. Yeah, because usually it's TRRS for microphone stuff, but maybe, let's see, do both sides have a microphone in this one, or just one? I think there might just be a microphone over here. You can see this little dot. I always mark my stuff with gold nail polish so that you can tell that it's mine. Different shapes so I could tell them apart. Anyway, so we got these wires going between them. We'll figure out... I'm gonna guess that maybe the red one might be a copper thing. Or no, probably there's a central core of like copper ground wire. That's a thing that happens a lot. Oh, let's get this nasty stuff off of here. I really don't expect to be able to repair the transducer separation, but we'll give it a shot. And if nothing else, I've always been curious just to see what the insides of these are like, so you can see the old Aftershokz logo. Tell me if it's backwards, by the way. To me it looks backwards, but you never really know with these things. Gotta have sound effects. Doop, 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 doop. Tell me what y'all listen to while you are doing electronics. For me, like I said, there's those audiobooks and stuff that I plow through, but I noticed that if I have to do anything actually like cognitively intensive, if I'm just soldering a bunch of stuff, then I can listen to whatever. But if I'm trying to do something where I have to reason, then instrumentals are the way to go. I really love video game soundtracks, like the Stray soundtrack is wonderful for that. A lot of C418's music for Minecraft is great for sort of chugging along on a project. This gets a little thicker. This is sort of one continuous piece of nasty sticky rubber that like got thicker around the neckband and seems to have just been like cast around this entire assembly here. The newer ones actually have a sort of ridge or two on the inside of the neck, which I'm not a huge fan of, but does also imply that it was cast. Oh yeah, I can see a seam here. Okay, this is not the way, but that's fine. What is this, I wonder? A little sort of slot going on. I do want to get the rubber off of all of this so I can see what's underneath. I'm sure there's better tools for this, but I'm just going to keep using these. Oop. I can kind of pinch and cut away at the outside. Yes, I was trying to get my stickers and PCP swag made in time for SuperCon, and that's what I'm supposed to be doing today, but instead, here we are. Ooh. Funny and comedy podcasts. Any faves? This is, oh man, my fingers are already so nasty and grimy. I'm gonna see if isopropyl alcohol helps with this at all. Not over the device though. Sometimes it does and sometimes, okay, that actually, once the alcohol evaporates, is it destickified? Yes, okay. Okay, my fingers feel less grimy, which is nice. They're still a little bit sticky, but not too much. Ugh. Oh, I've heard multiple recommendations for Dungeons and Daddies. Oh, wait a minute. So is this 2 holes for mics? Maybe this is like a noise cancellation thing? Kind of curious. The cool thing about these headphones as well is that they have kind of a natural noise cancellation option, which my friend told me about, which is obvious once you think about it. You just put earplugs in. You put earplugs in your actual ears, and then your bone conduction headphones vibrate your skull, and you can hear the audio, but not the outside noise, which I've used a lot of times on planes. It is wonderful. It works great. And they're very lightweight. The TSA does make you take these off, but it's easy enough to shove them in a bag or whatever. The nice thing is that all the versions I've ever tried have the same little magnetic charging connector, which helps a lot. So let me see if I can pull this over this far to get it on screen. Nope. Oh well. Well, you can imagine a little sort of like magnetic guy that clips onto there. The smaller ones have it on a diagonal, and the regular ones have them just like flat in line with the volume buttons. So we've got these volume buttons over here. We've got an on-off, or this is sort of play pause, and if you tap it multiple times, it skips ahead or backwards, but that's a little harder to do. And then you hold down the volume up button to turn the power on or off. Let's see. So the main thing I want to do is figure out about these end parts. So I don't need to fuss around too much with these arms. Those are sort of a bonus. But I am curious, like, how the heck? How does this open? And I think that getting the rubber off of the arms at least a little bit would help me figure that out. Destruction. For anyone who's just joining, these are not the pair that I'm trying to repair. This is the pair that is the same model that I'm taking apart to see if it's possible at all to try and repair the other ones without completely destroying their functionality. Because if I can't, then I'll just like deal with the rattly transducer, and so it goes. Oh man. Come on, get off of there. Suppose the earplug thing would work when wearing safety plugs as well. Yeah. I even have worn these with the like underneath safety style like ear cans, big what do you call it? Over the ear headphones. Although if you're doing it for safety reasons, obviously you probably wouldn't want them like lifting the cans away from your head, even a minimal amount. But yeah, you can in theory do all three. But yeah, would definitely work with safety plugs. Go. There's no part of these that like project into your ear area. They only wrap around and they rest in front of your ears. I should actually show you what it looks like when you're wearing them. Ah! Oh, I get a break from the sticky. Oh, it's a lot. I'm not a person who really enjoys stickiness, so the mic's gonna go off for a sec, but that is how they go on. They're so comfy. They're not too tight or anything. Oh, wrong thing. I need to switch over to desktop camera and stop showing you my red eyes. Yeah, they just sit in front of your ears. Super comfy. And they've got like larger and smaller versions as well if you have a large head or a small head. I use the mini version now. They are very nice. I noticed that having a slightly smaller head slash neck area means that the neckband here can kind of jut out, which usually isn't an issue, but can sort of like catch on the collars of coats and things. And also, I wear masks in some places, and that can interfere. Like, I've got glasses and these things and masks, and that can just be a little bit much. But usually it's not an issue. Oh yeah, Aftershokz teardown. This is a destructive teardown to figure out if I can repair this other set, which are the same model. But I kind of doubt it. We shall see. Oh, you know what? I should put a little banner on here saying what I'm doing. Here we go. Aftershokz. There we go. So, still trying to get just like the shielding off of this arm part so that I can see maybe how yeah, they're definitely not made for repairability. Unfortunately, like the more sort of watertight, waterproof, water resistant they are, these type of things at least, the less repairable they're probably gonna be. But I've also, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I've always just kind of wanted to see what's inside, you know? I'm trying to just figure out how you open up this ear can. You know what? Let's look at the iFixit thing real quick and just see how they did it. This is a different model, but so they took the case apart. This is the like ear area. Peeling the rubber off. They did that in a nicer way than I did. What about the ear bits? Oh, they didn't even do that. Okay. Well, we're gonna have a go at it. This is, who's the author on this? Tiberius Moon and 2 other contributors. Cool. I won't be submitting this because it's completely destructive and nasty, but I'll share it online. It'll be on my YouTube channel, and anyone who's sufficiently motivated will be able to find it that way. How? This is definitely like, okay, this is like a hard plastic with a integrated like soft rubber finish on it. I don't think it's a separate layer. I think if I just scratch this, it'll like, yeah, that's all one piece. So I think this is a seam though. So what I'm gonna do is take a crack at it. Where's my pliers? I need a bigger pliers, I think. Yeah, this is too small. Give me a sec. And yes, as you say, I am going to open up the case around the transducer. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try and crack it like a nut. We're just gonna try and crack it open in the most literal possible way. Which side should we go with, do you think? This side doesn't have the button in it, so maybe I'll learn something that I can employ on the other side. It's fun that we've got 2 sides to do this with. Okay, so... What's the best way to come at this? You know what? What if I take off the... I put masking tape around my pliers, because usually what I'm trying to do is plier something, ply something that I actually want to hold on to, and usually not very durable. So since we don't care about that in this case, I'm just gonna take this off and go brute mode. Okay. Do the thing. Come off of there. Here we go. There we go. There's some teeth. Very meta here. Taking the soft enclosure off of the pliers that I'm using to take the enclosure off of the headphones. Ah, there we go. Okay. Let's give this a shot. I think this is also the side with the microphone. Okay, that's pretty durable. Okay, we got a little crack forming. Let me make sure that the focus is good. I'm gonna do this close up. Where's my focus? Here we go. All right. So now we have a crack forming. See it. I see it. Gonna not give myself a pinch. It's a great way to get a blood blister. Ask me how I know. Don't ask me, I don't want to think about it. Oh yeah, there's that grime. I don't mind, in terms of repair. I was complaining about how so much of electronics in the real world is about just cleaning stuff. I honestly don't mind that. It's the crawling around in like terrifying crawl spaces and like actually putting my body into freaky environments that I hate. I'm gonna go grab some dental picks that I have so I can scrape the the nastiness out of here while I'm doing this. Give me a sec. All right. Apologies for any microphone noises. Also, I sit on a yoga ball, so if you hear any weird squeaking or like gross noises, I promise I'm not just farting up a storm over here. It's my yoga ball making noises. I don't think anyone can ever actually hear it when I say that, but I like to just be clear. Lol. Okay, you know, there's like building a reputation and there's like the wrong kind of reputation. um, but yeah, having repaired various game controllers and stuff, it does seem like anytime you open up some electronics, there's gonna be some grime, and that's often the cause of the problem. Not in this case, though. We've just got a detached transducer in both of these. Actually, which side, or was it both? This side's definitely rattling. So it's got the same problem, which newer versions don't seem to share. I think that's about as good as I'm gonna get through this, so I'm gonna grab my thinnest little screwdriver. Actually, I think I've screwed up the end so it's not quite so thin anymore. But, ooh, you know what? We have another thing for this. Give me a sec. Now, if you feel motivated to ask me why didn't I grab all the repair tools before I sat down at the desk to do this, my answer to that is shut up. That's good question. I don't care. Where the heck is the... here we go. Scrapey dude. Ah. I think it's a jimmy, but it's also just like a very... I mean, that is technically what I'm doing. I'm trying to jimmy it. Ah, yes. After ruining something in an attempt to repair it, says Keith, I've been getting new tools because the wrong tool can make it worse. I've never thought about dental picks. What other teardown/repair tools do you use? Yeah, dental picks are great, especially for like scraping the grime out of stuff. Let's see. One really vital thing I've found is just having a set of long-ended screwdrivers. So this is literally just a super cheap set that I picked up at Walgreens. Often you'll get like a set that has a ton of different bits, but they're only like this long, and many appliances have holes for this, like screws that are embedded super deep. They're just really deep set, especially like older computers and stuff and whatever, or like, you know, yeah, any household appliances often. And so, you know what? I shouldn't have been, no, the battery's in one of the arms. That's fine. I can squeeze it. So anyways, it's like a cheap set of screwdrivers with long neck things to get into deep areas. I find that really helps. Also, of course, just having like a set of, like a comprehensive screwdriver set. Where's my Manta set? I got a really intenso set from my Fix-It. Where the heck is it? Well, naturally I can't find it right now, but iFixit has a ton of different sets. This is the sort of slightly smaller set. I'll just go on, put my face up for a sec here. So, iFixit stuff. Full disclosure, I think actually I bought this myself, but they have sent me some cool stuff for free. I think after I started talking about their stuff a bunch. So, this is my personal channel. I've done like electronics videos for Hackster.io for 10 years, and I still do. So that's why I tend to get stuff. So this comes with like a grounding strap. It has a little suction cup. Suction cups are great for getting the screens off of stuff. When I repaired my little iPod Shuffle thingy, iPod Nano 6th generation, you gotta heat it up to soften the adhesive, and then use a suction cup to get the screen off. So suction cups are good for that. Tweezers always, these spudger thingies. Although I usually want something a little more heavy duty if I'm going to be actually prying. So I actually have a specific screwdriver that I kind of use for that. It's It's a junk screwdriver now, but it's got a really thin blade, like flathead blade on it. This fella. But at this point, the end is kind of like janked up to the point where I need to use something like I've pulled out this Jimmy thing because it's a very thin little bit of metal. Also, what works great for that, if you don't have that, is surface mount soldering stencils. So if you are doing surface mount soldering, there we go, don't have to peek over it now. If you're doing surface mount soldering with solder paste, sometimes you'll use a stencil and basically just like squeegee the paste into the stencil, and those tend to be a really nice, thin, flexible, non-corrosive piece of metal, which is, I think it's like stainless probably, and that's really good for this stuff. Do I have one of those around? I think I've got a really big one somewhere here. Oh yeah. Here's a giant one. I don't know why this is so large. The circuit itself is pretty small, but makes a cool noise. And it's just this really nice, thin, springy metal, which is, if you get a smaller one, it's really useful for like sticking into stuff. And then, of course, they come with these guitar pick type things in the iFixit sets, which are also really useful for like using a number of them to like stick at intervals around an enclosure when you're opening it up. That's all I can really think of. I guess an air blaster thingy, you know those things? What do you call them? Not an air gun. The compressed air spray thingamajig can be useful to like blast the gunk out of something, especially if it's sort of like fluffy gunk. Like pet hair. Pet hair has a weirdly efficient way of getting inside of like joysticks and game controllers and stuff. I don't know how, but whatever. I love the iFixit spudger for lots of things and some inexpensive razor blades. That's a great idea. Yeah, probably kind of similar to this Jimmy tool actually, which I'm about to use on this unfortunate little device. So I have seen that the battery, the LiPo batteries, is in one of these arms, which is good because that is not where I want to be like squeezing and hacking. Also, I'll note that this is an LED that indicates both the power on or when it's charging, it's red, and when it is fully charged, it goes blue. Pardon me. Very nice feature on there. So let's dig into here. There we go. Get it actually on the screen. Jimmy it open. I probably could have done some more research, like looked on YouTube to see if anyone has done this before, but ooh, there we go. So some of that, what I thought was grime, is actually adhesive, it looks like. Interesting. So it's 43 minutes in now. I just want to note that for later on when I want to come back and see what timestamp this is. Huh. There's like glue. Definitely not a non-destructive repair. Huh. Cool. Gonna make sure this is good focus, because yeah. Come back. Focus window. Here we are. What's the best? There we go. Okay. Unique little tools are great to learn about. I do think I've got to get a hot air gun soon. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Loosening adhesive seems well worth it. Oh, so yeah, I do have a hot air gun, but also, just for the record, in case you're worried about using large amounts of or using very hot air on your thing, worried about temperature control, iFixit does also sell, for what it's worth, these things for, they have I think it'd be under opening tools. This thing, the eye opener, is basically like it's sort of like a microwavable like heating pad or cooling pad where do you microwave it? Basically, it applies heat directly and evenly to case components that are joined with adhesive. So you use that you heat it up, I think in the microwave, and then you use that. Oh yeah, there we go. It says it right there. Reusable and non-toxic. So you heat it up in the microwave, you put it on your thingy, and then, whoa, you can boil it? What? Huh, wow. And then you just put it on your thingy and, can help soften the adhesive to take it apart. I would not boil it because that seems like a great way to get steam inside of your device, but I guess they know what they're talking about, so. Huh. Alright, so here we are. Back in repair world. Oh yeah, do not microwave device along with heating pad. Solid point. Words to live by. So here we go. That actually might have not been too grimy. That might have just been adhesive. Huh. Yoink. So we've got this transducer here. It's mounted like on an angle, which kind of makes sense. So this is how it would be mounted. And with my ear on this side. And so it's angled toward the ear canal. Ah! Like, this is my ear canal here. It's sort of sitting there in front of it, going around the ear, and then it points at the ear canal. That's really interesting. Look at it on its little flexure. I'm gonna poke at this a bit. Where's my, I want a non-magnetic object to poke at it with. Grab a spudger. Because, as you may or may not know, both microphones and speakers, which are basically the same thing, just optimized differently, work with a vibrating magnetic diaphragm. Huh! That makes air currents or whatever, transfers vibrations either from a signal or to a signal. Cool. Ha ha ha! So, how does this get rattly then? Because I can hear it moving around. I can feel it wiggling. So what's the problem? And how would I get this? Like, will it lift out or is this all one piece? Let's have a look. I'm gonna pry this adhesive out of here. Try not to stab myself. Take off my glasses. Okay. It's kind of hard at this point. I don't know if it started out hard or if it's hardened over time. The sort of reverse sticking. Oh yeah, there we go. I'm sure there's got to be an entire like Reddit community dedicated to this kind of thing. I know there's people who are like peeling stuff and whatever, so this is for you. Yes, I am pointing the pointy spudger directly at my face while I'm doing this. If I stab myself in the eyes, again, this is all for y'all. Right? I wonder if the adhesive is supposed to stabilize it in place. Because it looks like there's some space around here. I'm gonna bring in another lamp and throw some more light on the subject. Oh, right. I'm never gonna be able to tell if it's in focus because my eyes are not in focus. Put the glasses back on. Here we go. This is what we've got right now. Got some comments. Let's see. After a point, it can't get worse, right? Yeah, if you're repairing stuff and you don't really have a lot of hope about its repairability, then sure. Wasn't expecting an air-filled cavity on the ear side. Yeah, no, me neither. So the plastic lid was part of the vibrating then. I think so. I think the plastic lid, like, there's supposed to be like clearly a solid mechanical connection between the transducer and the plastic lid, but it didn't seem to actually be attached to the lid directly. Like, there was, like, this part didn't have any glue on it, just like around it. I think like holding the case together. So my guess is that this sort of like directly contacted the lid. And maybe this whole like, my guess is the whole earpiece kind of vibrates with the, but yeah, I don't know, actually. I gotta study some of this bone conduction stuff. Years and years ago, I should pull up this horrible, ridiculous set of photos. I'll show you in a sec. I read about this art piece that was installed at, I think, a museum or a science museum or something, where this person had run audio through a banister, a metal banister, so that it vibrated, and you would rest your elbows on the metal banister and put your fingers in your ears. And then via that, you would hear audio transmitted to your ears. And then also, I heard another really cool one where an artist made just like a bar, a little metal bar that would vibrate, that was long and thin, and you would put a straw over it for sanitation and then bite on the straw, and it would transfer sound to your head that way. So I ended up, let me pull this ridiculous set of pictures up real quick. It's on my Google Photos from way back in the day. Do not wish to back up stuff from my computer. Thank you. Let's see. Here we go. Is there one with just me? I know that I have some. Well, anyway. Okay, so here is an ancient photo of me playing my bass guitar into a DC motor with a glue stick stuck onto the shaft. So basically, it would just, so this is my little amp here. At the bottom, tiny orange amp, much too small to be putting bass through. But then it was, yeah, just piping that to this DC motor was ridiculous. And it worked pretty well. You could like bite onto the DC motor and then my friend is demonstrating here, and then you'd get. Oh yeah, here's the one I was looking for, where it's just me in there because I don't want to necessarily screw people's identity or whatever. But yeah, you can just bite on the glue stick and you hear the audio that way. Very weird stuff. Is the lid made of the same kind of plastic as the part holding the transducer? It seems like the transducer is in a capsule that's held in by glue to the headphone frame. Yes, it seems to be the same type of plastic. I could be wrong. Lord only knows what kinds of plastic mixture shenanigans people get up to, but it looks very, very similar to me. There's like a texture that's just from the mold on here, it seems. I don't see any kind of slot or anything. Okay, I lied actually. It looks like that is a marking of it having been directly glued onto the whole thing. So I think it goes like this. Have I got that backwards? No, it goes like this. Okay, so it goes like this. And you get this. Yeah, I don't think there was any adhesive directly between the transducer and anything. Which makes sense, because it's got to vibrate. We got the two tiny little wires here going to the transducer, red and green. Don't know if you can see those super well, but they are right up here. I wonder if I can pull this out. I think it's all molded as a single piece over here. There's like a finish, but that's just like a slight film coating. Anyway, I'm gonna try and pry all this out. Bite the glue stick. See if you album. Is the motor more well suited than a piezo or speaker, or was it just on hand and functional? Well, the motor was the idea of turning it into a transducer, so like it has a shaft that would vibrate back and forth, so I could easily attach something that I could bite down on. I think if you tried to like bite a speaker, then it would prevent the diaphragm from vibrating as much. Like it's stronger with a little DC motor, right? Piezo, I feel like a piezo would be really uncomfortable to bite on, just because like Green Day has a lyric about chewing on tinfoil. And to me, that's what it would seem like. But it's a good question. Also, I was using a bass guitar, so I feel like a piezo might not do a great job of oscillating the bass frequencies, but we'll see. Maybe you'd pick up more of the harmonics. What's this little copper contact here? This is clearly going into the transducer. So we've got a copper contact. Sorry, I'm trying to keep this centered while looking at it in my hands. This seems to be coming from the arm. And then these two. This must be ground, maybe? Well, we got stereo audio. Let's open up this cable and see if I'm right about it having like a central ground thing along with wires for left and right channels and a mic. This is an interesting kind of like waxy exterior. It doesn't really feel like it's almost like papery. Look at that. Huh. This is the wire shielding here. We've got little enameled wires. Yep. And what do we got? Oh, okay. So, hold on a sec. Six wires. What? It's kind of hard to spread them all out, but we've got red, brown, black, green, blue, and purple. Huh. So maybe the transducer does take 2 wires for some reason. I gotta do some research on that. If anybody feels like looking it up right now, let me know. What I can see is that green and red are going to this transducer, as well as some kind of copper situation. But that might just be a mechanical contact. Actually, I think it is. Where'd my spudger go? You know what? We need something more delicate. I'm going to use the pick. I'm going to cut this away. Try and do it in a way where the light hits it. I mean, so I think I've answered the original question at this point, which was that, like, there's no way to get this open without, and, like, refix the transducer without killing the whole thing. But I'm still curious how exactly this is attached and how it can come loose. Because you were talking about there possibly being, like, a separate pod inside of the case, maybe. More adhesive in here that I'm trying to dig out. There are also little, I've never actually used this little air puffer. Where is that? I have a kit for my Fix-It that I got years and years ago as sort of a Black Friday special. That's not gonna do anything. It's not very strong. That's fine. As the album progresses, there's fewer and fewer vocals from biting the glue stick. Gonna have to dig into them myself. My Shokz just broke, and that has just really hurt me. Yeah. In what way did your Shokz break? I'm curious because mine have basically had a couple different things go wrong, but mostly it's just when the transducer gets all rattly inside, and this is an older version. I haven't had that issue with newer ones, and this pair specifically I ended up actually sitting on accidentally, and they're pretty resilient, but after enough times the arm broke. Okay, let's see. We got this guy. Oh yeah, what was the... Yeah, let's dig out the rest of this and see if it's glued on the bottom too. I see a seam here, which implies it could be a separate capsule glued in. I'm not sure. At the same time, it kind of looks like one big piece. Only one way to find out. I'm going to use my less nice clippers for this, even though it's soft plastic. I thought I had an even less nice pair, but okay. Ooh, that's not the right shape of tool for this at all. Why am I doing it this way? This is not the way. I think this is just a rim. I don't think it's actually a... Gonna really come out, but yeah, that's just a... Well, I don't know, let's see. I'm gonna turn on my other lamp real quick so that we can get all around lighting on this, because I'm afraid that while I can see, it's a little harder to keep the camera all nice. Okay, there we go. So, still just wailing on this one piece. Trying to sort of dig out the rest and expose the structure. Oh, here we go. Things are getting interesting. Check that out. I think you might be right about that capsule concept, or at least there's like a sort of central piece that's attached into the main body. This is the side that does have the microphone. Interesting. Now I'll at least maybe be able to tell if both of these are microphone related. Maybe one of them is like noise detection related. Oh yeah, that's all rattly. It's still rattling. Unsurprisingly. Okay. Spudger. Here we go. So... I think this guy is supposed to be more stable. It's definitely kind of rattly. But, actually that doesn't feel too bad. It actually just feels like it's mostly on the springs. But there's some kind of rattle situation going on. On the other one is definitely... Like, the more I learn about how... Oh, crap, I think I might have just hit those wires. Because I stopped thinking for a second. Here we go. Interesting. The more I learn about how this is put together, the more I'll be able to figure out why that happened. More of this exposed. Okay, so we've got those wires, which I've just kind of screwed up a little bit, I think. I don't know that I actually cut them, but there's more adhesive here. This does seem to be the microphone, and then what's this guy? Another mic? The transducer is definitely moving out of the way when I do this, like... But it's supposed to move, but mostly the diaphragm is supposed to move. kind of curious about that nubbin. That's like a metal, almost looks like a hex nut on the back there. And then down here, this does kind of look like a mic, but it's positioned in an odd way for a microphone because, well, they both kind of are. Because, like, this is the interior where my face is, and the apparent microphone holes are like right here and right there, both kind of on the outside. But that makes sense, you know, they wouldn't be on the face of the part that faces you, but because then it'd be smushed up against your face. Just gonna go around the edge here and see how much I can separate this central part from the arm. Ooh, there we go. That was a nice snap. That felt like it sort of detached. Yes, okay. So we got a crack sound and this central bit. Oh, there we go. Okay. This might just be a piece of foil off the outside of... It definitely came off from across from this little piece here. We're gonna have a look and see where our mic and or microphones are. Those might both be microphones. Got this guy and that little fella over there, which both look vaguely microphone-ish. Dig that out of there. It's on a flex PCB cable. Just trimming the plastic away. Be cool if I can peel this whole thing away from the enclosure. This is why I don't wear nail polish anymore. I used to really enjoy wearing gold nail polish, and I actually love how it looks when it gets all chipped and stuff, but doing like actual sort of professional videos for AMD and such like will make you feel a little more self-conscious about your grooming. If I'm doing a personal thing though, I might bring back the cracked gold because it's just a great aesthetic. Come off of there. I'm allowing myself to sort of get distracted and procrastinate with this project, even though I have little hope of it actually leading to me fixing my other pair, because it is a goal of mine to get better at repair, and tearing stuff down and seeing how, like, getting more familiar with how stuff's put together in the first place is a great way to learn more about repair. I've done some repairs already, but I'm always curious, you know. Also, in terms of designing my own electronics, just like, how does a real pro team do it? This looks like it's sticky on one side, like it's an adhesive FPC. Is FPC a sort of, not recursive, but like a dual acronym? Like Flex PCB cable, FPC? Flex printed circuit board cable? I think so. Okay, I'm gonna trim this off so I can peel it all off in one piece. just gonna clip it. Oops. Sorry for knocking the camera around. As you might be able to guess, it is a kind of jury-rigged camera stand, as with everything else in the studio, but I like it. I basically got a massive metal boom over my desk, which has like 5 different mounts for webcams and the phone I use for my face. Use an iPhone continuity camera for face shots. That's a terrible way of putting that, for showing my face, which works really well. And they're all mounted on one big boom. Okay, cool. So we got this cable. And I can actually start to see, you know, there was a point in that, because now I can see both sides of this cable. Actually, I think it's just black on the back. Yeah, so I can't really see, but I might be able to see a little bit of the routing here and try to figure out which wires are for what. Oh, there's even letters on here. Ooh, let's flatten it out and get it all on the... So we've got WFM001C. They've labeled the traces. That's gorgeous. Okay, so get this focused. V plus MB microphone. I think around the time that I got this, they were already producing units with a microphone on a boom. So that could be a microphone boom. It says U something. Often U is a just a label for a chip. It might not be a U though. It kind of looks like could be an L. I'll take some close-ups of this so that people can decide what they think it says. This, oh no, I think it is U1, because this says like TP something something PB something. Oh no, I think those are the wires here. But like, I can almost read this. Maybe if I take my glasses off. What's on this guy? It says, oh, it's very, very tiny. I should have a magnifying thingy. Give me a sec. And by should, I mean I do have a magnifying thingy right here. So I think it says, they're writing on the metal casing here is kind of poorly stamped in. I'll take some good macro photos later, but I'm trying to just angle it into my lamp here so I can read it. Oh, I had it upside down. Okay, so it's something like CC1032CI. I feel like CC10 is something that I've heard of. But I also could be making, like, completely misreading that. Or is it 13? I think that 32CI on the end is correct. Yeah, that's a U1 for sure. I was reading it upside down. And then the other bits say TP71PB? TP71PB? Toilet paper 71 peanut butter. I'm gonna try and look this up. TP71PB. Let's see if that comes up with anything. Thermometer. No, I don't think any of that. Let's see. What about on that other teardown? It's the eye opener. Oh yeah, where did that actual... Oh right, they weren't taking apart this part of it. They only took apart the arms. Okay. I'll take some really close-up photos later on and share. Ah, your arm broke just about. Yeah, that's what happened with this pair. The arm broke. After a couple of years, I sat on it, and it just had too much. So I guess there's this like copper wire in here that helps strengthen it and provide some flex most of the time, but then that just connects to this little situation here, which connects to the ear bits, and that also is a point of failure. I'll dealt with. Yep, a capsule being glued in would make sense for waterproofing. Hey Timon, what's up? The Open Run Pro 2 marketing page shows off a 2 microphone system used. Ah ha ha! I was right! Okay, yeah. There we go. Noise reduction. It makes sense because these are sort of like marketed for runners and stuff and people who'd be moving around. There's even a waterproof one for swimmers. At least there used to be. I wonder if this is a magnet. Nah, it just looks like a hex nut. Let's see if we can pull it off of here. Using an extremely large tool for the job, but nonetheless should be able to grab onto this. Oh yeah, that's a nut. Can I just manipulate this with another tool now? Can I rotate it? Yeah, there we go. Ho ho! Check that out. Teeny tiny little nut. And what happens now? If we take this off, oh, we can take the back of the thingy off. Well, that's not because of the nut, that's just it coming apart. What if I poke at this? No, it seems to be screwed through the enclosure as well, so it won't just like push out once I remove the nut. Interesting. Yeah, so this wasn't enclosed inside of the or it's not a separate enclosed part, but it is definitely a little sort of like layer that is manufactured separately and then attached into the enclosure. So back to this cable. Yeah, that makes sense that these are both microphones. That is indeed what they look like. Let's yes, get more of that glue off. I'm just gonna try and read all the labels on here because I think that the cable is actually pretty well self-documented. What we got here? We got voltage, we got oh yeah, that U1. So it's this way, I think. Which makes sense because that's the way the other text is too. So we got trying to show you and myself at the same time. R1 and R2. Where are those resistors? Oh yeah. Where is R1? Is it just teeny tiny? Oh, red 1 and red 2 maybe? Because we got G. Oh no, it could be ground. Yeah, voltage plus R1 and R2 ground SP MF U2. So both the microphones seem to be just labeled as chips. I don't actually know if there's a standard labeling for a speaker that is separate. Like how resistors are usually R and LEDs are usually D for diode. See? Good to know. That'll help with future teardowns if I know that a speaker can be labeled. Or a microphone, rather. I keep saying speaker. A microphone can be labeled U. Get the glue off. If I do this, I'm not gonna do too much with the glue, because if I do, I'm gonna rip the mic straight off of the FPC, which is a bad idea. Anything else we can pull out of here? Oh, there are 2 little resistors on there. Are they on the traces labeled R1 and R2? Not really. Let's find out. I want to know which colors of wire are connected to which labeled trace on the Flex PCB. So we're gonna do some more of this, hack at it more. Not a thermal protection temp sensor, or is it very definitively not the temp sensor that search returned? Oh yeah, the temp sensor. I'm not sure if it was an actual temp sensor or if it was just a thermometer object. I think it might have been the model number for this actual product, you know? Because the thing I thought it said, maybe, was TP71PB, and this is a TP970, which is a little different. TP730. What is this, anyway? Square box. And then what's this? I think DigiKeys just come. Oh, interesting. It couldn't be TP70 something, could it? Let's have a look. Actually, I think I'm gonna have a look in my super close-up magnifier over here. TP. No, it's definitely. I think it's pretty certainly TP71PB on this label here. This guy. Let me know if it's backwards for you. But it's showing up a little bit better in my actual physical magnifier here. Let's keep trying with these guys. Fortunately, this adhesive is all soft. It's not like a hard epoxy, which makes sense because the whole device is kind of soft and flexy. You usually see SPK and rarely T for transducer. Modern MEMS mics often talk digital I2S or PDM. So direct to digital, so it makes sense to call them just chips with you. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess, you know, since they do have like a little... So, okay, so I love MEMS technology. It stands for microelectromechanical systems, I think. And, oh, they're so cool. You know this already. But, so the reason that I wasn't sure why they would be called just chips, because they have actual, like, teeny freaking tiny little mechanical components inside of them. Okay, I either flexed or did actually trim that cable by accident. Whoops, but that's fine. We've got enough red cable on both sides, red wire on both sides to tell where it's connected, which is fine. Gonna just try and get a little bit more off of this here to expose more of where the wires come in so I can tell what color each thing is. Come here. Try to get the last of that soft adhesive out. Listen to the sound of your steak dinner on the grill with these headphones. Which ironically is the base audio. You know, I saw a video just now about how the sound of rain in sound effects is often simulated with like frying chicken or whatever. Maybe I should object as a vegetarian, but I find that hilarious. Lol. Like this album is vegan or some crap. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's just coming apart, coming along. I'm gonna try and snip this to not put any more pulling pressure on here. attention, I guess. You don't really get analog mics at that size. That kind of makes sense. Oh yeah, so of course, because if it's digital, it would have a little chip in it. That makes sense. Let's see, where was I? Over here. Okay, yeah, we're just figuring out. Oh, this little bit will slide around. Come off of there. Come off. Come off. Ah! Probably just have to cut that if I care enough. But I'm just gonna slide it away. Okay. So, here we have the wires coming in. We got brown. Is that yellow or white? What do I have on the other side here? Brown, purple, blue, green, red, black. Yeah, I think that's the green one I'm looking at. Brown, green, red. No, there's the green next. That must be the purpley one. That doesn't make any sense. It looks yellow. Anyway, black, blue, green, red, something, brown. And it's very odd because on the other end it looks like there's... It looks like that one would be purple. What? Going by process of elimination. Very strange. Ah, well-seasoned cauliflower / mushroom steak on the grill with sizzle too. That does sound really good. The cauliflower, anyway. Despite what I said earlier about fungi, I do love the concept of fungi. Unfortunately, I don't like eating them, which maybe seems... I wouldn't be surprised if mushrooms took over the world eventually, and so maybe I'll be like one of the few people spared because I don't like eating them. But then again, mushrooms are weird enough that I bet they have some kind of like ulterior motive in being eaten by other organisms. You can never know with those things. They like eat plastic, they eat oil, they eat heavy metal, toxic waste, and it's just like they eat everything. They live inside you. I love them conceptually. I just really don't like eating them, unfortunately. I've tried all different kinds. Okay, there's two ways that I can enjoy mushrooms. One of them is like really thinly sliced woodier mushrooms in like ramen. And the other way is, if you put them in a stir fry. I can tolerate them on pizza, but as long as you can't really taste them, I think that's the deal. But also the texture. Why does it look like there's... Why? I gotta take apart more of this because now I'm just... Oh, obviously, there's all this stuff in here. It wouldn't be the same as the cable coming out here. Duh. Alright, because there's all this, like, power stuff and whatever, too. Okay, let's crack open the other part of the case here. And PDM is neat, as apparently you can just low-pass filter it to get analog audio. Huh! So, PWM being pulse width modulation, PDM... What is PDM? Pulse... diameter modulation. I don't think that's right. I'm using too many of my brain cells on the stream right now, so somebody tell me what that stands for. Very thinly sliced on pizza can be really good. Nothing's worse than a big fluffy soggy like, oh no! Pulse density modulation. Interesting. Thank you for distracting me from that horrible mental image. It's really not necessary. Someone did manage to convince me to buy some mushroom tea, not that kind, at a Maker Faire, and it was interesting. So is this like a mechanical connection here? I kind of feel like this feels like it's got something metallic inside, and that looks like it could be a sort of like a metal spring going into the plastic enclosure situation. Let's get this off of here. It does kind of wrinkle up, and then I can grab it with the clippers like this. Oh yeah. Got some metal in here. I've used armature wire for bracing and a number of things, and it's always a little annoying just to figure out how to anchor the ends because it's like a round wire. I got hold of some metal zip ties though. Those are the business. They'll be really easy to anchor into stuff. Because if you're trying to use it to stabilize something, but then you can't like get the metal to stabilize against anything, I usually just kind of like twist it around other stuff until it feels vaguely secure. But interesting. Okay, is this a hollow tube or is the cabling inside of here somehow? Hard to say. Or did I just clip it all away? No, this is just rubber I'm clipping through. I'd be able to tell. Famous last words. Oh, it goes into like a socket, maybe. The soft rubber kind of like leads into this socket situation. Now, I am gonna clip this open and see if there's wires running through there. Indeed, there is a channel with wires inside. So they're separate. I did not think there would be like a hollow metal tube with wires in it, but you never know. Ooh, there's more discourse happening. Really grown to love mushrooms, but they can be awful tasting and easy to mess up if you cook them wrong. And also nothing wrong with not liking them too, but pizza mushrooms are usually the worst. I think I'm okay with them because they can kind of like get subsumed into the pizza as a whole. Probably shouldn't bring up the true pizza controversy then. See now, whoa, there's an actual emoji for that. Wow. I personally love pineapple on pizza. I think it's a match made in heaven. I think that the like tanginess and the sweetness of the pineapple with the sort of sharpness and acidity of the tomato is just like scrumptious. So, and like, how many pizza flavors are authentic? As well as like, if you look at even the concept of pizza, like American pizza with like a big thick layer of mozzarella on it, uh, and then like don't even start thinking about deep dish versus whatever, like Detroit squares and whatever. Like in terms of authenticity, like I do not accept the authenticity argument. But I'm not gonna make anybody else eat it. I do think they're missing out though. But they probably think the same thing about me and mushrooms, so the endless diversity of life. It's glorious. So I'm pretty sure this is just. Now let's see where this goes. Got this metal sleeve with some rubber over it. Just gently, slowly hacking away at. And how did they open up these cases now? This looks like if I squeezed it in the right way with the right tool, it would kind of like pop open, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't see any. I think again, this is like, yeah, we got a seam here. Oh, hey, that's just coming out with my fingernail. Surprise! That was easy. Oh, yes. Okay, and there's nothing on the outside here, just a little light guide for the LED window. I don't know why it's showing me this backwards. I'll remove this emoji in case it's frightening people. Apple plus salty hard cheese. Yes. Parent Stilton, also classic. No, just straight up low pass filtering the PDM stream. Interesting. Oh, we've got a spam thing here. How do I get rid of that? IDK. Anyway, ignore the spam, please. It's on Twitch. What am I doing? I am. How would you separate the two data streams? It's on the same data line? Yeah, this is a really interesting question. Because, yeah, so we've got two mics and a transducer. So, presumably some of them are sharing ground wires, right? That's what I was doing. I was trying to trace the different stuff to the different wires. Okay, let's have a look. We got. Oh yeah, it's that yellow wire that was freaking me out, but that's because it's going through this whole other circuit. Okay, so, but focusing in for a second, locking in, as they say. We've got blue wire. It seems to go to one trace of the microphone, which is labeled MF, or WMF, yeah. Also SP. No, that's the other trace, which sort of goes through a via that's on the bottom. If I hold this up to the light, it crosses over inside the PCB. Okay, so just taking a quick look at this, showing you what I'm saying. One of these traces is very straight and obvious. This one here goes to SP and MF, which is the blue wire. This one, also SP, goes into a via. And when I hold this up to the light, maybe I can put like light up from beneath it and have that not be horrible for you. Let's see if I can do this. Woo! Yeah, sorry, 1 second. Figuring it out. Okay, so if we put it through there, you can see that that one crosses over inside of the Flex PCB. Does that go all the way to the other side? I think it is the extreme other side. Oh, not quite. There's one more. There we go. It's a little hard with the focus and everything. No, that might be the furthest one. What's going on here? Okay. Now that I've blinded myself. Let's see. There is this trace on the outside, which appears to go to... Oh, you know what? I bet this is the ground one. That's why it goes to both. So this probably, SP thing probably goes to ground. Which is probably the brown wire here. Which, wait, why wouldn't the black one be ground? Maybe it is. But it also appears to go to some stuff here that's crusted in adhesive. And solder. It's soldered to the red wire. Okay, so the black one coming in is labeled R1 red, I guess. It doesn't seem to have a resistor on it. What I thought was a tiny resistor here in the past is just a solder joint. I'm gonna draw this all out and take some close-ups later, but just to have a look at it. So then we got brown appears to be ground, black appears to be going to this red wire on the transducer. I could be wrong. Blue seems to be going... It seems to be labeled SP. No, I bet SP is for the black one. And it's going to the speaker. Again, I could be wrong. We got V plus, voltage plus, great. That... Huh, what a mess. This little squirrely one is what I'm looking at now. That's kind of like going underneath all these little guys. Yeah. Let's have another look how that... Oh yeah, could do a continuity tester type situation. Feel a little lazy for that. Does the mic have traces on both sides? Looks like it's only 2 traces, but maybe they're overlaid on each other. It would surprise me, but I guess that's a good point. It could have more than 2 connections on the bottom and have like a via... Let's see, where's my little... Maybe I'll rip off one of the mics and see what the bottom of it looks like. Sorry, I'm trying to get this to not blind all of us. That's not working anymore. Okay. I might... So if I'm going to rip this off, I want to keep track of which way it's facing. and it appears to be facing toward me with sort of like a green dot on the left. It's just a sort of artifact. Okay. Forgive me, little thingy. I'm going to part you from your cable. Oh! There we go. Ooh, interesting. So the bottom of the mic has two contacts, which appear to be sort of in a little ring situation. Gotta put my glasses on again so I can see if we're in focus. If it's two traces, then they must be analog MEMS without any processing. Exactly, there's no two streams. It's the same effect as low-pass filtering PWM. That's so interesting! I gotta check that out. Rock on, the LED light was a super clever idea. Oh yeah. Lazy is functional too. Dab of ink or paint touching the flex board for orientation matching. Huh. There we go. That makes sense. If I had put a little bit of paint on here before tearing it off so that they would line up. But see how there's kind of like a little dot of the greenness on the left? I'm just gonna rely on that. Also, actually, these little two contacts do line up pretty well, so that's nice. Let's take the LED thing to it again, but I'm gonna look for a smaller LED this time. Let's see, do I have a single light up type of situation around here? I must have like a single LED somewhere. Come on. There's gotta be one. Oh, there's gotta be an LED around. Okay, here we go. This is terrible. This is probably not gonna work, but we'll try. This is too many things for me to hold is the problem, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Spread this out. Try to hold it all in one pair of fingers. Do 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 do. There we go. Okay. Is this bright enough to do anything? Not really. I'm gonna try the flashlight again. But I'm just gonna look at it with my regular human eyes and not try to get the... Oh, that's horrible. Oh no, I blinded myself again. Oh, Timon says the ring is likely ground. Uh, that makes sense for reasons that I can't explain, but it feels right to me. There we go. Check that out. Yeah. And then there's that centerpiece. Okay, so the one on the outside is linked to the center, and the one on the inside, I think, is linked to... Oh no, I lied. Can't really tell, actually, which trace is which this way. Oh no, yeah. Oh, one's on the top and one's on the bottom? There's gotta be a via in there. This is a good place for people to screenshot if they're curious. So we're at 1 hour and 44 minutes, almost exactly an hour from the last time I tried to make a mental timestamp and I also immediately forgot what it was. But we've got the little cable apart and I'm going to try and make it so we can get a good screenshot at some point. Focus, light position, and we can see the wires. Yeah, I used to do this with little PCBs for cheapo, like, solar and crank flashlights and stuff. It's a cool little trick when it's just like a two-layer board and it's a little translucent. Any more than 2 layers, and obviously you're gonna have problems, but it can still help disambiguate some stuff. Just gonna keep moving this around until I get like... Look at all that squiggling going on in there. Very difficult to suss out. squiggling. Okay, cool. So, going back through some comments, Timon, the ring is likely ground. PDM is a digital signal. You can encode two audio streams on the opposite clock edge. I design electronics with PDM mics at my day job. Ha! What? You can encode two audio streams on the opposite clock edge? So like one of them rising and one of them falling? Or wait, clock edge. So not like, pulse edge, but okay, I'm gonna have to look this up or ask you about it in person sometime. Timon, are you going to SuperCon? Might be able to get something sensible if it's only a single device on the bus. Just looked at a lot of MEMS mic data sheets and the ring is almost always ground. Solid. Yeah, for a single device, not multiple, of course. And I should personally attempt it, as it would be interesting to do things like direct PSK modulation with PDM audio streams. PSK. I know what that is, but my brain is failing. What is PSK again? Like pulse? Is that like a keyboard thing? Let's look it up. It's somewhere in the recesses of my brain, but also if you feel like just telling me, feel free. Ah, not at SuperCon, but we will eat Hackaday Berlin. Good stuff. PSK. Phase shift keying. Gotcha. Oh, that makes sense. That's weird. So you flip the phase? I'm gonna have to look this up. I've also been meaning to, since I've been playing around with radio stuff the last couple of days, I've been meaning to revisit AM and FM and like specifically like FM synthesis, because that stuff gets real weird real fast and fun. I have to kind of like re-explain it to myself every now and then. But what you have is definitely an analog MEMS mic. In that case, it's not PDM. So the usual radio geekery by seeing everything from the perspective of how I can use this thing for doing radio things with it. I'm kind of like more on the side of like how can I do music things with it, but also I learned a long time ago that like building music tools to me is not necessarily conducive to actually like making music because you can build an electronic instrument, but then you have to like learn to play that instrument, and it's not always super intuitive, especially if you're like constantly tweaking the thing. But if you have like, oh man, let me show you Onyx Ashanti. If you're not familiar, he's been like making this entire like weird body mounted thing forever. Onyx Ashanti. Interviewed him once for Hackster Cafe actually, but this incredible like body mounted synthesizer, and he uses it for beat jazz, he calls it. On Adult Swim, no way. Good for him. Oh, look at this stuff. Oh, it's so cool. Oh my god. He just like has an entire body mounted interface that he's constantly tweaking. He basically lives in this interface and has done so for like many years. It's just like the aesthetic on this is ludicrous. Look at this. Ah. Wow. Anyway, so speaking of like how can you use stuff for music and needing to like actually learn how to use something once you build it, like, oh man, the man's aesthetic is just incredible. Yeah, actually, in a sort of some similar aesthetic overlap, I highly recommend the movie Neptune Frost. Sort of got some like Afrofuturism going on. Science fiction romantic musical. It's also got some like points around like coal town mining and stuff. It's just really incredible sci-fi. Ah, come on, Embiggen. Beautiful aesthetics too. Just like an amazing. The rising versus falling edge having the valid bit. Yeah. Because the controller provides the clock, they're automatically in sync. Huh! Yeah, okay. Where was I going with this? We're just kind of having fun at this point. There's no way I'm going to be able to stabilize the transducer inside one of these cases without just like completely destroying the object. So we're just gonna keep taking it apart. We've been going for almost 2 hours. I'll probably give it another like, maybe I'll do part 2 on the other side another time. Because I do want to like take apart the little cables on both ends, and I'm gonna need to engage the brain cells for a minute after this. I've noticed that when I'm running a stream, it's a lot easier when it's just me on stream and I just have like one camera and stuff to manage, but it quickly becomes this thing where my regular brain cells don't really work because a lot of them are consumed with like monitoring and switching stuff on and off and whatever for the like paying attention to focus and whatever. But let's get this out of here. I'm kind of curious about whether these volume/power buttons like pull off or no, they're part of this rubber piece that's like kind of attached onto here. Very, very DDR of them. I recently got an ultrasonic knife, which is super. Whoa, that sounds wonderful. I've heard of those. Man, oh, that's one of those things where it would definitely be cool to. There's like an upgrade if I get to a point where. Right now I'm like very freelance, which is exciting and fun, and it's really helping me with getting past my burnout because I'm sort of like extremely part-time, kind of by choice, where it's like I could be proposing more videos and articles and stuff to Hackster, and I could be doing a bunch more, but I'm kind of just trying to get back onto a proper sleep schedule. And I've taken a bunch of rest, and I've been like building up my independent systems and stuff, like YouTube channel and newsletter and all that good stuff. So, point being, once I get back onto more of a less part-time schedule, it'd be cool to get some upgrades. Oh, ultrasonic knives have come down in price, maybe? Question mark. Streaming is such spit focus exhausting. It's like teaching not just the lesson, but checking in with the class to see and be ready to address anything they need. Absolutely. Mad respect for teachers. My parents are both teachers, and I've done a little bit of teaching and tutoring in my time, and it is just the world's most exhausting thing, especially if I've only taught like for an hour at a time, or like using other people's lesson plans sometimes, and lesson plans are a whole other thing, which is like a nightmare to me. Like the teaching part itself is pretty fun, but lesson plans, oh, spare me. But even then, like if you got more than one kid, it's just like so much to monitor and keep track of. Mad respect, they do not get paid nearly enough. Could not do it myself. It's like having homework for your entire life. Did look at building one myself like 10 years back or something. Ultrasonic knife, very cool. Proper sleep schedule. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into that too much, but I definitely have been sort of brute force fixing my sleep. So I'm at the stage right now where it's just like get enough sleep, and then in the future I will work on getting the right time of sleep and maybe a routine. So right now I may end up going to like sleep at 4 and then I just like sleep until noon, and I'm like, I'm very part-time so I can do that. But eventually I'm trying to schedule more stuff in the mornings. But I tried that this weekend. I was like, I gotta be in SF by 10:30 in the morning. And I did not get out there at all. And actually, I overdid it on Saturday, so I didn't end up making it out of the house at all that day, but still, like, still working on it, but we'll get there. Rebuilding my social and physical stamina very intentionally as well. Just trying to get back out there. I'm doing a bunch of different events this year. It's sort of my year of coming out of being a hermit. Oh, we got a little rubber seal thing here, a little gasket. I think I might have done some of that off screen, sorry. Talking about monitoring things, we're just gonna pull this off. Okay, no comments from the British, thank you. Our little... There's no electrical contact on the side of the switch, it's purely mechanical. This part that goes to the outside. These little side-mounted switches. I'm trying to figure out how to get the circuit board out of here so we can look at both sides of it without totally wrecking everything. This charging port obviously is going to be a bit of a challenge. Yeah, I can see how an ultrasonic knife would be really nice in terms of like not stressing the parts. At the same time, I kind of find it useful to feel the resistance as I'm going through. Maybe you still do get some of that with the knife. But it helps me know that I'm not cutting through metal or whatever. And sort of letting it come off in chunks helps. You know, the second I say this, I'm gonna do something horrible to it and like cut all the way through the circuit board or something. Well, these clippers could not do that. But ooh, there we go. See, like that, it sort of like pulled off a chunk from the main board, or the enclosure rather, without damaging anything. I'm kind of like cutting and twisting and wrenching and like pulling as much as I am clipping. If that makes sense. Oops. I'm looking at it in my hand, but I should just look at the screen so I can see what y'all are seeing. Here we go. Ooh. So rather than removing the circuit board from the enclosure, I'm really just cutting the enclosure away. So by like twisting like this, I can do it without cutting through any of the wires. Kind of lever it away. I know this isn't like... This is very much I was never trained in this, but I'm gonna learn over time. Really excited about doing more repair stuff. So there's a group called Fix-It Clinic in the Bay. And there's like repair cafes and stuff around the world. And they do these events where I think it's a really cool setup. Not only do they bring tools and stuff and show people how to repair stuff, but it's less of a we repair it for you and more of a coaching type setup where you bring the thing in and they sort of like teach you how to repair it for yourself. And that way everybody like I can show up as a new coach and learn a bunch of stuff. I learned stuff about how, you know, sewing machines are put together and the insides of mixers. And one time I learned about common failure modes with CD players and how the laser can get stuck on its motor and you can fix it with a pen cap. So it's really got something for everyone, like both the coaches and the people who are fixing their stuff. Very, very cool. Run by this guy called Peter Mui. And I know that there's other ones as well, like repair cafes. You can go online and find ones in various countries around Europe, etc. But repairing and repurposing and all that good stuff, extremely good skills to be cultivating. This is another part of the burnout thing, like what I was just talking about, where it's like I am procrastinating technically from like getting my swag orders together, and I may or may not actually get them in time, but I've kind of known that for a while, and I had the urge to do this, so I'm indulging it because it's feeding into another life goal of mine, which is learning how to repair stuff. So interesting, we've got these little metal, like a little metal staple. This makes sense. I saw this in the iFixit Teardown. I was wondering what these little metal staple shapes were. Turns out it's this little stabilizer thingy from where the thing joins to the neck band, I suppose. Maybe I should take the transducer case apart more too. I should do that. I'll leave that for later. But here we've got the charging connector. Eep. Mm-hmm. Ooh! Just a nice little glamour shot for a second. Oop. Huh! Okay, I just fell apart. Oh, that's right, because I cut it up in the middle. Fun. This has got to be the thumbnail for the episode, I guess. Gotta get a good screenshot. Should get rid of the banner if I want to do that. Anyway. So this is just mechanical connections. Don't have to pull that off of there, but I want to. Here we go. I'll leave that alone for now. So we got red, green, and blue going to the charger. Anybody want to bet what the third wire is? Is that a thermistor? Or would that just be on the battery? Battery's on the other side. We'll tear that apart another time. So anyway, we got those. Oh yeah, and then the other side. Let's look at both sides real quick. Side number A. Try and get that fully in focus. And side number B. Get these wires spread out in order without stressing them so that they break. Go green, yellow, blue. Then brown, then red, then black. Green, yellow, blue, brown, red, black. Here we go. Cool. Oh, let's see, what do we got here? I'm gonna change my camera over. Talk to the humans for a minute. Oh, I got some adhesive on my mouse. No! Don't want that to be the next repair project because I actually use that every day. Alright, so... Behave. Okay, so... ultrasonic knives, self-care. Ultrasonic knife was apparently $150 US. Not cheap, but definitely quite cheap for an ultrasonic knife. That's cool. While back, you showed using blue light glasses for jet lag. Is that something that you found to be helpful or more trouble than it helped? I'll be honest, I just found it annoying. I didn't manage to wear them for long enough because I found it just really annoying to have blue light shine in my eyes. So I've been using other methods. It's kind of like with the lucid dreaming masks. So I've built various like attempts at having a lucid dreaming mask that would like blink lights in my eyes at a certain time of night in order to pardon me, in order to help me be lucid, but I would wake up with it on the pillow next to me because apparently in the middle of the night I'm just like, no, screw this. So I guess similar thing with blue light glasses. It's just like my body, I'm like, This doesn't seem like fun. Man, I gotta get more sleep. So, anyway, consistency is the most important thing. I'm doing great going to bed at not 5 a.m. Gotcha. The key is just always doing that and not needing to go back and forth. Yeah, it is nice not having a lot of meetings during the day, but I do occasionally have things to do at 10:30 in the morning, so tons of sympathy to taking a step back and taking care of yourself. I stepped back from a lot of stuff earlier this year because I got overwhelmed and couldn't keep up with my at-home chores. Yeah. Any attempt to find balance is good, and knowing balance itself is a balancing act is helpful when I get out of balance. Yeah, everything in moderation, including moderation. Uh, got people might be. I mentioned this last night on the stream, but I've got this whole page on like my sort of recovering from burnout stuff, and this thing on like, um, you know, tools minimum viable everything, like which chores are essential and which ones are kind of like nice to have, and like can I reduce the input on some of those by like using disposable dishes sometimes, over the course of like 6 months. The amount of disposable dishes I use is like the equivalent of probably one or two large, parties or dinners or whatever. So, you know, large corporate events. So you got to kind of like put stuff in perspective, and all kinds of other, you know, different ways to build energy and motivation. I have been like feeling a lot better once I started being able to build stuff again. And I've sort of like gotten, this is sort of like my rebuilding stage. Last year was sort of like a nesting and hermit stage, where I was like, I just need to rest. And like, also I was moving, so that was a whole thing, and like setting up my own place for the first time. This year is sort of like, I came into it being like, this is gonna be my year of like going back into the social world and going to events and stuff. And it's also turned out to be the year of like rebuilding. So when I'm at events, I want to bring Archimedes or like one of my other companion bots I've been fixing and like upgrading companion bots. Archie's getting a new brain. Oh, his head is off. Whoops, lol. Huh? Oh, I think that's on purpose. But anyway, he's got a bunch of new little stuff. He's got a little audio speaker with little voice cues and things. He's got a new lighting system. He never had lights on him really before, but now he's got a whole like under wing lighting and inside of his head and stuff. It's very cool. And a whole umbilical cord, which I'm replacing, that has like LEDs going up and down it. Anyway, so it's sort of like a rebuilding my processes as well, making these new KiCad components that I will be able to, for the last few years, my KiCad setup has been broken, so that like I didn't have my default set of components, and I'm getting back to the point where like I have my default set of components. I'm actually building from scratch my own like set. I've got like one of each thing, and I'm just like measuring them and creating custom footprints, and now I'm also turning them into like a set of Halloween flavored KiCad components and stuff. But in the future, I'll just be like have an idea for a PCB and make it, rather than having to like figure out which components to use and stuff, which is great. Oh, yeah, looks like the charger actually has 3 pads. That's a good point. There is actually a metal part in the middle of the charger, but I'm not sure if that's, I think it might have a water sensor actually. I think it can tell if you're like too sweaty or if you're underwater, and it shuts the thing off. So that's probably what that has to do with. We could look later at where the wire goes. Let's look at it now actually. Where's the, let's just bring this up on the little camera. So, blue, green, and red wires. Blue wire. It's kind of hard to tell. I think I might be out of brain cells for this at this point. We could pull out the flashlight. If you can't shine light through a PCB, sometimes you can just do like an angled light thing and like look at the contours on the top of the copper underneath the solder mask. Trying to get a good angle on this for the camera, but what was I looking at? The blue one? Okay, let's get that in focus first. And then I can see just like bouncing light off of here. It's a little hard because there I think is some like resin potting going on there or something. But you can see that there's like a trace under the solder mask there. But let me know if any of this screams water sensor to you. We've got a capacitor on here on the green wire. The red one seems to go into slash through the board, but there is seemingly a oh no, there's a trace running from it. See, up in this direction. Oh, yeah, this direction. To what though? To this little resistor? Is that what that is? Yeah, a little resistor. I'll take some close-up photos. We'll examine it. Okay, so we got this guy and we got the transducer. I'll save those. Helps to know. Making a desk lamp plus terrarium plus sunrise lamp. Oh, I love this! Plus forecast terrarium thingy. I was curious about blue light glasses versus blue light lamps. Yeah. Personally, I think that I am pretty sensitive to having like lights shining in my eyes. Like I'm very picky about it. So even just like studio lights for doing videos and stuff, I've noticed that like I really don't like how I mean everyone's kind of like that, right? But even just when there's like a movie going on a TV and it's very dark otherwise, I tend to find that a little irritating after a while. Going to be reading that soon. I'm curious. Oh, the Burnout guide. Yeah, that's just on my website. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's some like notepads slash works in progress that you can read through, including like my favorite pens and like different privacy tools and stuff, because that's a huge interest of mine is like digital privacy and security. As a femme-shaped person, especially on the internet, you know, there's it's been something that I've thought about for a long time, especially being in this career for like 10 plus years at this point. Wow. You know, but anyway, yeah, rebuilding is where I'm at and why I was gutted when my attempt at repairing didn't work because of the wrong tools. Yeah, tools are huge. As I said, I got this like massive iFixit toolkit Black Friday a couple of years ago. Haven't done much with it because it's Burnout, but I'm very excited to start digging into it. Oh, the thing I said earlier about like long-ended screwdrivers, they actually have a really nice set of those in here, but you know, it's all like sort of packed together or packed away in this nice little package and stuff. And so let me see if I can do this without scattering them everywhere. See it come like that. Good stuff. And they got their little like rotating ends on them, so you can sort of like rest it against your palm and twiddle it for extra support. It's a really good kit. I should figure out the name. But if you go, I think it's like the Pro Toolkit or something, because I had high ambitions, which I'm finally getting to actually like dig into. Came with a grounding mat and bracelet. There's a multimeter in here. There's a oh yeah, here's that eye opener thingy where it's just like this clear gel. You microwave it and then you can like put it on your thingy and like it'll heat up the adhesive so you can take stuff apart. What else? There's a bunch of crap in here that I haven't really gotten around to using yet. But the dental picks actually were something that I ordered separately and added to the pack because it was something that they didn't have. This is a sort of vaguely new thing, which is like... Wait, is this the older one? This might be the older one. Oh yeah, this is new iPhone 11 already. Okay, yeah. There's a... They got all these things for like suctioning onto an iDevice and like then pulling apart. Oh, is this the one? No, this is a different one. This is a whole different thing. Is this iFixit or is this somebody else? Is this just little... They are little suctiony guys. I think this might be for like if you're doing a TV. You put like one of these on each end of something. I put some isopropyl alcohol spray in here. Oh wait, they've got this. Is this IPA 2? It doesn't say. Screensaver. Deionized water and proprietary polymers. Well, I would put in some IPA as well. That's one that I didn't mention before, but it is so useful for everything. This, of course, helps like remove adhesives and stuff and oily stuff. You can use it for cleaning your glasses. A lot of like glasses wipes are just like, you know, isopropyl alcohol on a little wipe thingy. You can use it with swabs to clean stuff off. And you can use it to temporarily like stiffen and remove hot glue. It's really useful if you're trying to get hot glue off of something. It really helps just like peel it off of things. So isopropyl alcohol. massive. What else is in here? Some spudgers and such like. I think I added more of these like anti-ESD brushes, like non-electrostatic bristle brushes for just like cleaning stuff. Approved for static control. Because, you know, again, a lot of fixing electronics ends up just being like cleaning it. What's this? Flex pen? Correctable Lumo color. The fuck? Oh, this is for their, I think that might be for the, like, magnetic mat or something. You got various types of tweezers, like regular and reverse. That's not a reverse one, but it is like a soft, flexy, plastic, non-conductive one. Other types of spudgers with like a little hooky, knifey thing. I don't know if this was in here or I put it in there from somewhere else, but big old screen cleaner thingy. Aha! Here's the thingy. This is like the new thing that came out last year, where like it's got. Wait, do you how's this work again? There's like it's got this like thing where you like lock it or unlock it. Okay, so I think you unlock it and then you can just like move it however, and then you shift it to the lock position, boop, and then you can like screw it together or apart. If I screw it together, then like imagine having your phone in between these, right? You've softened up the adhesive, you've got it like sandwiched in there, and then you basically like you wouldn't do it like that. Like, it makes a really fun noise though when you put the suction cups together, but you do it like very, very slowly so that you could like gently pull your phone apart, basically, if you're repairing the screen or something. There's a lot of stuff where you gotta take the screen off in order to repair stuff that's inside as well. I've done a couple of different iPhone screen replacements and also repaired some other stuff in there, and there's surprising number of times that you have to take the screen off. This is just a screwdriver bit holder. You got some more of these little spudger thingies. Some little cards you can slide in between parts of stuff in order to pry them apart. Little utility knife. I might have put that in there. More of those picks. Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff in here. Here's some... It says polyamide tape. I think that's basically Kapton tape, like non-conductive, thin plastic-y stuff. Is it plastic or is it like a mylar or something? I think it might be like a mylar. And then like a little parts tray and a little magnetic dry erase guy. So there's all kinds of stuff in here that, again, I got this like a few years ago when I was still deep in Burnout, and I'm like just digging into some of it. I pulled out some of the things today, like the little air blower, air puffer thing, which doesn't seem as strong as I'd necessarily want. I'm really sorry if this is making horrible microphone noises, by the way. I'm just like... There we go. We got some comments. But, you know, it's a nice little pack that you can bring it to like a repair cafe type event or whatever, which is great. Let's see. Looking forward to the album Bite the Glue Stick. Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for joining. It's really been fun to chat with you all while I was messing around with this. Working on your soldering station. I need to hear more about that. You got to come back another time and we'll chat about it. I want to hear about the project. That clamp jaw suction thing is great. Polyamide. Yeah. Excellent stuff, thanks to it not melting. Yeah, Kapton tape is used a lot in like space applications, I think, as well as inside of electronics. Yeah, if the cheap stuff just had better adhesive. Man, I ended up... Okay, we're gonna talk about tape again. I did finally go ahead and order some iFixit silicone. It's like self-fusing silicone tape. This stuff is bananas. Basically, it allows you to... it's sort of like a... Here we go. They call it silicone electrical tape, but what it kind of is like it creates custom-sized heat shrink. You sort of pull and yank on it and stretch it. And then when you wrap it around something, it self-fuses into one solid piece, essentially. So it's really great for if you already soldered something together, but then you need to, like, you forgot to put the heat shrink on before. Well, now you can put this on afterwards, and it'll, like, insulate. Plus, like, it's, again, like, works for any size of thing. And it's just, like, solid stuff, non-conductive and all that good stuff. I have a tendency to just, like, if I don't have the exact right size of heat shrink, I will just put a bigger size on and then inject hot glue into it, and that does double duty where it, like, both shrinks the heat shrink because it's hot, and it, like, the hot glue, like, fills up any extra space in there, so it makes it a little bit more stable. But this stuff looks really useful, especially in a pinch when you can't bring, like, a bunch of crap with you while traveling and whatever. And then, like, we also last week ended up talking about Maker Tape from Brown Dog Gadgets, which is just some amazing stuff. That is a conductive tape that is Z-axis conductive. Here, let me pull it up. Sorry, real quick. So it's conductive all the way through. The adhesive is conductive, and the tape is conductive, so that you can just stick it to stuff, and the bottom, and, like, you can make a joint by just, like, layering it on top of itself. Instead of, like, you know, copper conductive tape, you basically have to, like, fold it in these horrible ways. Plus, it's made of this sort of, like, nylon metallic fabric material that is conductive, so you can stretch it. You can, well, it's not very stretchy, but you can, like, wrap it around stuff and flex it a bunch, and it doesn't tear. You can tear it with enough force, but usually you have to cut it, which is beautiful because unlike copper tape, which, like, you flex it too much and it'll just, like, disintegrate on you, this stuff is really sturdy, so very good stuff. All the tapes. Yes, exactly. Self-vulcanizing tape I've seen before. Here they call it self-fusing. I wasn't sure if it's silicone, if it still counts as vulcanization. Let's find out. I'll look it up later. The silicone stuff is far more UV resistant from what I recall, unlike the usual polyisobutylene PIB vulcanizing tape. That's cool. PIB tape being vulnerable to UV, and also some of the local birds like it. Oh no! Oh man, I've heard so much about marmots as well, like chewing on tape because it tastes sweet apparently. Or not tape, but, like, wires. They'll, like, go for the insulation on wires, and then, like, you see these marmot-induced, like, outages in various places. Yeah, vulcanization is rubber. Yeah. That's what I thought. So, this stuff they say self-fusing, but as you say, it's the same concept. But yeah, you can just get it $6 a roll. How long is the roll? I ordered a few because I was like, I will bring these to, like, events, and then if, like, I'll be able to give it like, pieces away to people as well. And that way I won't be selfish about it. 3 meters long roll, which is a lot of joints. 25 millimeters wide, half a millimeter thick. Elongation at break. 790%. Very stretchy. Cool. That's funny. Other self-fusing silicone tape colors. Ooh! Hey, Paul, we're on the tape subject again because we were talking about polyamide tape and Kapton tape and whatever. Is Kapton tape polyamide tape? Let's find out. I think Kapton is, like, a brand name, isn't it? Oh, it is polyamide. Polyamide film used in flexible printed circuits. Oh yeah, you can make DIY FPCs. Use all the TLAs today. Anyway. I've been thinking about doing a segment called TLA Tuesday, but for years and years, actually. But anyways, plenty of acronyms in here. Coefficient of thermal expansion. We got CTE, which isn't that, like, also chronic traumatic, like, cerebral whatever. Anyway, the story I've been told about rodents liking various cables, especially in cars, is the claimed soy content used in the cable jacket. Ha! Interesting. But it sounds a bit like some Harmon. I swear this is real. Okay, let's find out. Maybe I'm lying. maybe I need to update my knowledge. Marmots, cables. Let's see what comes up. I mean, there's the National Park Service has like a page on protecting your vehicle from them. They eat radiator hoses and car wiring. Ah. So you gotta wash your vehicle, physically block them by driving over a tarp and then wrapping it around your entire vehicle, covering the wheel wells. Wrapping chicken wire around the vehicle is no longer recommended, as Mormons have learned to get around the wire. Oh no! Oh no! Oh my! That is not what I expected to be the failure mode here. Oh my god, look at this. So, that's what you should be doing in Marmot Country. Wrapping vehicle in chicken wires no longer revives. So, were people doing this like, because I gotta imagine that that would scratch things up, right? Like, was it chicken wire with a coating on it? This was a very helpful page. Thank you, National Park Service. I swear I've heard of this happening in the UK as well. Wow. Let's see. Ooh, what's going on here? Hot sauce from the Macrosystems Ecology Laboratory. Do people use hot sauce to deter them? Let's find out. Oh no. A marmot bit through the sensor cable of the solar radiation probe from my weather station. Oh no. Oh man. Chaos creatures. Are these the like I feel like these should be like the mascot for like sabotage. Oh, wow. Dang. Oh yeah, Brown Dog Gadgets delivered the two-sided conductive maker tape just yesterday. Splendid. Yeah, right? Oh man, who knew? I mean, I vaguely knew, but it's hard to retrieve concrete facts. I have all these like random things, but in my head, but I can never remember the precise details. And anyway, okay, so we got side A taken apart. I'll take apart the rest of this case at some point. We do have like a sort of definitely there's a piece here that stretches, and I took the nut off, but I'm gonna do the rest when I'm more not brain dead. I mean, it's been like 2.5 hours since I started this, and then we'll do side B another time that's got the battery in it, and this is button for starting and stopping the thing. And yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to mend these fellas, but that's okay. I'll keep them as a backup, and then if all else fails, I'll use these so I can have my audiobooks without which I do not function. Because I like bribe myself basically. I love audiobooks compared to podcasts because I mean maybe like a long form one, like a season, you know, like you were saying, Dungeons and Daddies would work because like I don't have to pick a new thing. I can just like get really absorbed into it. That's what I love about the audiobooks is like keep me listening, and that way I'm like you know, I'm more motivated to do stuff like cook or like random chores or like cleaning and stuff because I can just like dissociate into the book and it's awesome. And it just like keeps me going. So go check out Libro.fm. I'll put my affiliate code up if you want to get a free credit for an audiobook, and I can get a free audiobook too, and it'll be rad, and you can get them without okay. Let's say this in actual words for a second again real quick. Libro.fm, super cool place to get audiobooks. You can download DRM free audio files. I think MP3s, and then also sometimes like an Apple AAC or whatever. You got an M4B here too. And whoa, export entire. Oh, this is just CSV. Gotcha. That's useful too. Yeah, so then you have them forever, and highly recommend this. Go use my referral code if you're interested in doing that. Check out all the different show things that I do, live shows and events. That includes upcoming like calendar stuff, which I'll update soon, as well as descriptions of the different shows that I do with friends and alone for Hackster.io and for myself. And then if you scroll down to the bottom here of my main page at alexglow.notion.site, you will find the page I was talking about on Burnout and sort of what I've been doing about that and how to prevent it from happening again and all that good stuff. As well as fun stuff like pens that I like and hair FAQ and other stuff. All right. Thanks for hanging out. I'll be back sooner than you expect. Possibly tomorrow with David. We'll see. Have a great one. Hack on.